The declassification of key documents relating to Mueller's Russia probes currently underway as President Trump ordered. Well, vocal critic and former CIA Director John Brennan says intelligence officials should push back on directives like that from the White House.
I think they should continue to push. If Mr. Trump and the White House does not relent, well, then I think they have some decisions to make, whether or not they're going to just not follow that direction and be fired or to resign. They have an obligation, since they took an oath of office to the Constitution of the United States, not to Mr. Trump, to uphold their responsibilities.
Well, tonight's panel here to discuss Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall and radio show host of WMAL in Washington, Larry O'Connor. Welcome to you both.
Ladies.
Nice to see you.
All right, Leslie, the message is resist.
Well, I don't agree with him 100%. I do agree if national security can be affected, then they do have to, in a sense, because they did take an oath to the Constitution and to the people of the United States and to the security of the United States. Is this for political gain? And I think there are a lot of people inside the intelligence community that echo not necessarily the pushback sentiments, but the motivation for this release and the pushing for it to happen so quickly when they need the time to properly investigate declassifying these materials.
All right, Larry, he also says there are a number of people that are trying to protect the president. They're abusing their authority, their powers, people within Congress, people within the executive branch. And he mentions what Leslie touched on there. He says this is reckless and it could give information to our foreign adversaries.
Yeah, John Brennan just keeps saying contemptible things. The good news is he's validating the president's genius decision to revoke his security clearance. Keep talking, John. Here's the thing. The president is looking to have full transparency, radical transparency on an incredibly controversial thing that the Justice Department did under Barack Obama. This FISA warrant on Carter Page, who still has not had any charges brought against him. By putting this out there and making it radically transparent, one of two things will happen. Either the president will be vindicated in showing, yes, in fact, they did surveil his campaign through Carter Page, or John Brennan and James Comey will look like heroes for exposing Carter Page as the spy that he is. But either way, why not be on the side of openness and transparency? Every time the Democrats cry that this is going to be a national security risk when something gets unredacted, they're crying wolf. It's never happened.
Okay, speaking of openness and transparency, I want to touch on this case involving Karen Monahan. She is the accuser of Congressman Keith Ellison, the deputy director of the DNC, and also running for AG in Minnesota. She today posted her medical records that talk about when she saw a doctor in 2017, it says she was in an emotionally and physically abusive relationship that she'd gotten herself out of. It names Ellison in that report that she has posted, but she says every time she tweets it out, it goes away. We're waiting to hear what the DNC is doing as far as investigating this, Leslie. And it raises a lot of questions for people who say, why so many demands about Republican investigations? Shouldn't we be fair across the board to the victims, to the accusers, to the accused, regardless of party? This shouldn't be a partisan issue.
Amen. Preach. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that. As a victim myself, I can tell you my perpetrator didn't ask my political leaning or what party I belonged to before he did what he did. So the bottom line is that every woman or every victim should be, in my opinion, believed. Statistically, 2 to 10% are being untruthful, which means 90% or more are being truthful. And I think the reason that these records are being taken off social media is not because of what she's claiming or because it's her medical record. It's because of the doctor that's being listed, her patient number, and other private medical information.
Larry?
I don't agree that every woman should just de facto be believed, but I think evidence should be believed. This woman has a lot more evidence than Kavanaugh's accuser does, and it happened a couple of years ago with eyewitnesses, not something that happened 35 years ago. But I'm sorry, Leslie, I agree with you, but your party doesn't. Your party has gone from being Me Too to Me Who when it comes to Keith Ellison.
Sorry.
But we shouldn't be surprised, because this is the party of Bill Clinton and Teddy Kennedy and Anthony Weiner. They will deny the evidence in front of them until they can't deny it anymore. And in the cases of those three, then they forgave it a couple of years later and pretended it never happened.
Well, there are some Republicans, as we know. We could go through the list of those who've gotten in trouble, too. I think what we all agree is that you got to see this equally dug into on both sides of the board and all across the spectrum. Leslie and Larry, great to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Please come back.
Good to see you, Shannon.
Okay.
Thank you.
President Trump